رمضان كريم عليكم من برنامج رمضان كريم مع ميكو. طول عمري عايش في مصر وما خدتش بالي الفرق ما بين رمضان في مصر أو في لندن. ومن أحسن الحاجات إن أنا عايز أوريكم رمضان في دولة مش مسلمة بس فيها مسلمين كتير بمختلف الطبقات ومختلف الجنسيات، كل واحد بيقضي رمضانه مختلف رغم إن هم بيتوحدوا في الآخر على ترابيزة واحدة بتلم كل الجنسيات وكل المستويات. عشان كده أنا عايز أروح أشوفهم بعيونهم وأقضيها معاهم وأوريكم الموضوع إيه، لأن برنامجنا بس عن الناس مش عن الحدث. ورمضان كريم مع ميكو. هو ده البيت. السلام عليكم، كل سنه وانتم طيبين ورمضان كريم. يا رب تكونوا بخير. وزي ما انتم عارفين ان انا باجي على طول هنا عشان اوري لكم الحاله بتاعت الصايمين اللي موجودين في لندن، صايمين مسلمين، يعني ما فرقتش بقى عرب باكستانيين اي حته. بس بتاعت النهارده دكتور كوكسن اللي هي بعد ما اسلمت واعتنقت الاسلام اسمها الدكتوره أمينة كوكسن. 22 سنه اسلام، انجليزيه، عايشه في بريطانيا. يا ترى ايه اللي حصل؟ وعشان كده هنخليها هي اللي تقول لكم. تعالوا نشوف. رمضان كريم. زي ما قلت لكم احنا النهارده مع الدكتوره كوكسن او الدكتوره أمينة كوكسن زي ما هي معروفه دلوقتي، وهنسالها نشوف رمضان عامل ازاي. السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام.
How are you?
Really well. My birth name is Dr. Anne Coxon. Now, Amina Coxon.
Amina.
But I use both names. I was born actually in Phun Nhuon, which was then Saigon, Indochina. It is now Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. So neither my birth, the name of where I was born has changed completely. But I didn't last very long. I left within one day because the Japanese were invading. And in fact, we left on the last ship that was not torpedoed. So from the beginning, I think Allah intended me to live, which was quite nice. Father was a cigarette manufacturer. At the end of the war, he went to Egypt. There's a cigarette factory which is still there by the pyramids, and my father's picture is still on the wardroom wall. I checked that, yeah. My mother's American, my father is British back to the Saxons.
At what age did you move to Egypt?
I was 5.
And how long did you stay there?
I was 5 and I went to school there initially. I went to the English school in Maadi. And then there was a revolution and colonial children were kidnapped targets. So after 2 kidnappings, my father decided that it would be better for me to be in England. So I was 7 when I went
Back to England, so only 2 years.
Yes.
So you didn't manage to speak any Arabic?
It's amazing. I remember I could count up to 10. I could say Ma'alish. I could say Imshi. I could say
I'm not
all
mentioning
of those things. I could say worse things, but it's amazing what children pick up and remember from language.
And all of this, there is no connection with Islam whatsoever? There is no.
No, I went to a Catholic school. There were many Catholics the whole of our family on both sides are Catholics. We have bishops in the family, we have nuns. The school I went to was a convent school where I had relatives who were nuns.
Wow.
And I think it was expected that I would be a nun. I actually suggested to the Reverend Mother that I thought I would be a nun. And she was very sweet. She didn't roll over laughing. She reminded me that there were 3 vows for the religious life. One was poverty. She said that's not a problem because you're not attached to money. She said one is chastity, that takes self-will. You're a strong character, so that won't be a problem for you. She said the other is obedience. She said that is beyond your comprehension. God has another path. She said it so simply.
So nicely
even
as well.
try to obey.
So nicely. It's not like she's putting you off or anything.
No,
like that.
she just said it's not in your DNA. Don't try.
That's it.
And I'm also one of the things I urge converts in England, because I've now been Muslim a long time, is to go into learning Arabic early.
Muslim.
Because the treasure in Arabic, in the Quran, it really influences the meaning in a way translation can't touch it.
Quran in all languages, pretty much all language, but it's not the same.
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
It doesn't give you, it's thin, it's two-dimensional.
You said you've been a long time Muslim. How long?
It's now, I think, 22 years. I forget, but something like 22 years.
What did drive you to there? To like, okay, stop, I want to be a Muslim. What happened? Because
it creeps up on you slowly. Remember, the Quran many times says Allah guides whom He wills. You ask any convert, no one thinks their way to Islam. In fact, in terms of thinking, it would have been the last religion I would choose, for all sorts of social and political reasons. And I had no affinity for Islam. Maybe also, you know, people tried to kidnap me, you know, so I had a fear of Muslims in a way. But as I met Muslims in my adult life, especially as a doctor, I started to get in international practice, and I went to Muslim countries. And I loved the way, it's present in Catholicism as well, the way that religion is in everything. It's in every moment.
in the way, in our lifestyle, in everything.
There is nothing that you don't say, inshallah, alhamdulillah, ala Kareem. You're constantly using these words, and not lightly. You know you're meaning them. And when you kind of realise that they're meaning it, as opposed to this, you know, we say, God knows, you know, that's one of the things English people say. You're not saying anything about God. It's just a word.
Yeah.
You're not
Expression, no
connecting.
feeling.
But the insha'Allahs were associated with feeling, and that was a detail. But then I saw my patients, I saw them in the face of illness, and I saw their trust, absolutely without fear of very serious illnesses.
MashaAllah.
And that got to me. And later on I saw the same thing replicated. So I thought, this is practical. You know, Muslims trust in their Lord,
Very
in Allah,
much.
in a way that is a tight bond, that is part of their breathing, part of their DNA, part of their everyday life. And I like that. But I didn't want to be Muslim, I just wanted to borrow from some Muslim attitudes. And I was in Oman one Ramadan, and I was advised that it would be all right for me to fast, that anybody can fast the month of Ramadan. You don't have to be
Yeah,
Muslim
of course.
to do it. So I thought, that's good, because the Catholics have gone soft on Lent. In the
Yeah, they
medieval
don't do
times, they used to fast properly, but then they stopped it, and for Lent people give up chocolate, you know, something fairly benign. But I thought, no, I'm a rather strong-willed person. I need a tough religion.
Yeah.
Otherwise I get into trouble. And so I thought I'd do Ramadan. And so I started...
The whole month.
The whole month.
Wow.
So I started the first of 3 Ramadans, and it was in the summer. And I remember I wasn't praying because I hadn't got that far. But I remember going to Regent's Park after work, because I knew if I went home I'd drink water. I wouldn't have the discipline to not drink water when it was available. So I went to Regent's Park or Hyde Park and sat under a tree as far as I could from water, just to keep myself away from temptation.
You didn't do it for religion at the time?
No, I just did it. I didn't do it to be Muslim. I just
For
did it because I
self-discipline.
thought it was a good spiritual practice. Nothing else.
I'm amazed because you don't practice the religion and you took part of it, which is comply to all Muslims that they should do. It's
Well, I
compulsory.
thought it's something that the Catholics should do anyway, so I just borrowed it. And then one summer, it was nearly Ramadan, and a Kuwaiti friend of mine turned up. I called him Uncle Joe. His name was Yusuf al-Zawawi. And he was being very kind, and he said he actually was in money troubles at the time, so I wasn't charging him money for the medical work. In that moment, I just suddenly felt, I want to be Muslim for Ramadan. Then I thought, well, no, there's no way I could mention that, because he took his religion seriously. But he saw on my face that I'd thought of something. So we had an argument that I had to tell him what it was that I thought that I wasn't going to tell him. So I finally said, well, what happened was I had this strong feeling, I have to be Muslim for Ramadan, and it's Ramadan in a week. I have to be, yeah, and it's Ramadan, it starts in a week. And his face fell, and he burst into tears. And he rushed out of the room, and he got his wife, and she burst into tears, and they were hugging each other. And then some children appeared from back rooms, and they were all jumping up and down and hugging each other. And he took me to the mosque the next day, and I became Muslim.
MashaAllah. Where was that?
In central London Mosque.
In London?
In London, yeah.
Wow.
And so he gave me my name, and which is his wife's name.
Amina.
And it was very nice.
Fantastic. 22 years ago.
Yes. So my brother says to me one day, what's this? I hear you're a Muslim. And I said, yes. I said, but I said, we're both looking at the same horizon. I've just moved to another window. And I think that was, didn't plan to say that, but that is still what I think. I
And it
think
came
all
naturally.
religions have the same focus.
Exactly.
And how you are guided from one religion to another is Allah's will. Why Allah chose to guide me and not my brother, I don't know. I'll ask when I get to heaven. But a lot of this is culture and so on. What I can't, to me, the bits I read in the Quran are very welcoming of other religions and very respectful of other religions.
You're Muslim, British woman, or a doctor. How do you spend your Ramadan?
With difficulty in the summer. Actually, with difficulty at any time. The median times are the easiest. Winter is hard because you have a very short time of fasting, and you have to try to get to Tarawih prayer by 6 o'clock, which is very difficult.
It's in the middle of the day.
You haven't had enough time to work. In the summer, it's hard because it's a long fasting time. So I break my fast in my home. I find that easier because I can't always achieve it, but I try to get home by sort of asr prayer around 6:30 or 7.
You have iftar alone? Sorry to disturb.
Yes.
Alone?
I live alone.
What about the Israeli kids? Your kids are Muslim?
No, my kids have no religion.
No?
That's a long story.
You know, but this is amazing itself, because you're not preaching them. They have to make their own choices anyway.
Absolutely.
So I like this. I like that it's like your own zone.
Yeah.
Everything. There is Maryam and Jesus, and there is Quran, there is books, there is everything. The way you organize your life is so, it combines everything.
I have to be authentically
It
me.
tells a story.
Allahu alim.
Allah A'lam. And that's why you have Allah all the time. You're not alone. You were saying to me you have iftar alone, you know?
I live alone, but I'm not alone.
No,
You're never
honestly.
alone. Allah is with you every moment of your day.
Alhamdulillah.
Closer than your juggling of bay.
It's unbelievable how close we get in Ramadan. It's unbelievable.
It is extraordinary.
So today, in your day off, I think I tired you enough. It's better to leave you now.
It's delightful to meet you all.
It was lovely for me. Thank you so much. And one last thing, what are you going to have for breakfast today, especially at home? Are you going to cook something?
No?
So you'll have fruit. So, okay, I'm not delaying you from much.
No.
But I need to have your nap now. It's weekend.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Ramadan Kareem. And thanks for having us.
And Ramadan Kareem to everybody watching.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.